Within the Star Wars prequels, the main overarching story was the fall of Anakin Skywalker to the dark side and his journey to becoming Darth Vader. So, of course, Darth Vader himself isn't literally present in the trilogy until the end of Revenge of the Sith, but in a figurative way, he actually is. Throughout the trilogy, aspects of Vader's character were represented by three others, those three being Palpatine's enforcers: Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and General Grievous. And I would like to go over and explain how. Though I want to preface this by saying I don't want to get too heavily into expanded material from either Disney or Legends, because then at that point, we aren't talking about the prequel trilogy anymore, but all the expanded universe content. So I won't be delving too extensively into media outside of the movies. The one outside source I'll be using is the Revenge of the Sith novelization, which, while a novel, is still a representation of the film, so I felt it was okay to use. With that said, we'll start with the first one of them that we meet, Darth Maul. While Maul has little dialogue in the film itself and his origin isn't delved into, his role in The Phantom Menace foreshadows Anakin's fate in Revenge of the Sith, namely that they were both young, arrogant Sith Lords who were now Palpatine's weapons of rage, but in their arrogance in a duel against Obi-Wan, they end up getting cut down and defeated by him via the high ground. Also, as revealed in George Lucas's commentary for The Phantom Menace, his duel with Obi-Wan was meant to directly mirror Luke's duel with Vader on Bespin, with a young Jedi battling against the Sith Lord who killed their father figures. The young Jedi both get pushed to the edge during the duel, with both losing their original lightsabers as they fall down the pit, as well as the loser of the duel subsequently falling down into the pit alongside it, with the most notable aspect being the role of a loss of a father in both duels. While in the duel, both Maul and Vader, in a way, kill their opponent's father. In Maul's case, we see him literally kill Qui-Gon, who was like a father to Obi-Wan, whereas with Vader, we merely heard the story of how he killed Luke's father in the previous movie, and we now find out that he was Luke's father. But in a way, he still does symbolically kill Anakin in the scene, as he destroyed the image of Anakin as a hero that Luke had in his head. Let's also note the ending and the lightsabers Obi-Wan and Luke use in these scenes. Luke carries and uses the lightsaber that was once used by his father, but he loses the blade during his duel with Vader, which falls into the pit, right as the truth is revealed. Whereas with Obi-Wan, he had a lightsaber of his own, though it, like Luke's blade, was lost into the pit. But he was able to win his duel against Maul by using Qui-Gon's lightsaber, symbolizing how even though Qui-Gon is gone, his spirit lives on. With the support of his father, Obi-Wan cast the Sith Lord into the pit, whereas Luke cast himself into the pit after finding out his father was the Sith Lord. Overall, Maul fulfills a similar role that Vader did in A New Hope, where Vader was the muscle that was working for the Empire, just like how Maul is here. And to add on, both kill the Jedi mentors of two young men right in front of them, which actually adds on to the similarities that the duel between Maul and Obi-Wan has with Luke and Vader's fight on Bespin. Unfortunately, Maul lacks the backstory, characterization, and dialogue that Vader had in A New Hope, and there is definitely a lot more that could be said about the parallels between Maul and Anakin, but at that point, we wouldn't actually be talking about the prequel trilogy itself, though, if you guys would like, I could make a whole video dedicated to how Maul mirrors Anakin using expanded universe content. But, moving on, we have Count Dooku, who has a bit more of a bigger role in the trilogy than Maul did. Probably the most known aspect of Darth Vader's story is his status as a fallen hero, a Jedi who turned to the dark side and betrayed the Order for the Sith. That's what Dooku is. Dooku, like Anakin, was once a Jedi who became disillusioned with the Jedi Order, leaving and betraying the Order to join the Sith as Palpatine's apprentice. Even more so with the fact that in the second movies of each trilogy, Dooku and Vader serve as the main antagonist of the film, aside from Palpatine, of course, who is the greater scope villain of every movie. During the conflicts in each era, the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War, they both serve as Palpatine's main enforcer during them. They both also have a partnership with a Fett that actually leads to the final conflicts of the second films, though funny enough, they're actually inverted. In Empire Strikes Back, Boba tracked the Falcon to Cloud City, leading to Vader finding the crew. In the Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan tracked Jango to Geonosis, which led to the Republic arriving on the planet. They also both try and convince a younger Jedi with whom they have a kinship with to join them and help them overthrow Palpatine.
You must join me, Obi-Wan, and together we will destroy the Sith.
Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
In the novel, Dooku even speaks directly to Palpatine about the idea of turning Obi-Wan to the dark side as an ally, as Qui-Gon was his former student and like a son to him, which he felt makes Obi-Wan like his honorary grandson, just like how Vader wanted his own son to join him on the dark side, and of course, they both get rejected.
I will never join you, Dooku.
I'll never join you!
One of the most known comparisons between the two is that both Vader and Dooku, at the end of their duels with a young Skywalker in the second movie, cut off their opponent's hand. And of course, there's their rematches with the young Skywalker in the next movie, which have numerous parallels themselves. With both of them occurring right in front of Palpatine, being shot in noticeably similar ways, with them also sensing the fear and anger in their younger opponent, encouraging them to use it, which actually echoes both of Luke's duels with Vader.
Sense great fear in you, Skywalker. You have hate, you have anger, but you don't use them.
You have controlled your fear. Now, release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me.
Then, of course, we have the conclusions of the duels, with the young Skywalker taking the hand of their opponent and having them at their mercy, with Palpatine encouraging them to execute his older and defeated apprentice so they can ultimately take their place, to which Anakin gives in, while Luke realizes he's walking down the same path his father did, so he spares Vader.
Never. I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And then, after Dooku, we see General Grievous, who George Lucas himself even said was meant to be a direct echo of what Anakin would become, specifically embodying the more machine than man aspect of Darth Vader, with the damaged lungs to boot. With them both being leaders for Palpatine's armies, they fulfill similar roles, with both being cyborgs with most of their bodies destroyed, who at this point can only really live for combat to serve their master, along with immense hatred for the Jedi. Though ultimately, within the films themselves, that's the main extent of their similarities. I would have to dig into ancillary media for any of the other aspects. But one difference I want to point out is General Grievous's infamous cowardice, which many people hate on for how less cool he is compared to his 2003 incarnation. But this does offer a noticeable contrast between him and Vader, though, as that cowardice is something Vader would never do in a fight. And that really about does it for this one. I know this last bit with Grievous was rather short, but I just didn't feel there was much I could say off the films compared to the rest. Now, if you liked what I had to say here, please do me a favor by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Feel free to comment any other films you'd like to see me cover like this. Thank you, and have a nice day.